Hi guys, Nick with BitGalaxis back again with another Asset Forge video. And today I wanted to talk a bit more about how to come up with new ideas when you just can't seem to think of anything. And this probably affects everyone across any kind of creative realm, whether you're working with writing or drawing or 3D modeling, game development. I mean, you name it. There's probably ways that people just hit a roadblock and they can't really overcome it. And there's a couple of tips I have to help people maybe get through those. And it's not to say that you'll get where you want to, but hopefully progressing, you'll be able to find your way out of it. And the very easiest way I can think of to help you get past a mental block of creativity is to just build something or create something that is inspired from real life. And, for example, I have created this castle, but I primarily designed it with the overall shape of a real castle slash tower from Portugal, and I believe it's called Torre del Boma? I don't know. Belma? I'm not really sure about the name. And you could probably Google this if you did. Now, there's a few differences between what I've created here and the real one. And so the castle itself obviously isn't going to match the shape exactly. The proportions aren't exactly the same. But I took the overall idea and made this little castle scene with all these mountains. Now, the biggest difference between my castle and the real thing is that the real castle is not in the mountains. It's actually right on the ocean. You actually don't usually get many pictures of this angle here because this all this back part is in water. But generally speaking, the shape is the same. And I believe that these pieces here, these little towers, don't actually look exactly like that. They actually are like big triangles, and then they curve in a little bit and they pop up, and you know. But you can see it's a very interesting shape. And it's something that I thought was fairly cool. The other part that's different is the this area here, this with these walls, actually has a roof on it, and a little door, and so this is actually kind of all enclosed. But I thought it'd be neat to make just a tiny little courtyard. So that's one way. The first way, drawing inspiration from real life. The second way that you can overcome these kind of obstacles is to just throw something out there and make it work. And that doesn't mean that you have to like throw something out there and if you don't like it, oh, I have to stick with this and make this work somehow. Don't do that. Don't make yourself hate being creative, but just go through. In Asset Forge, they make it so easy for you to do this because you have all these pieces you can just pick and choose from, and you might say, well, you know what, today I want to build a castle, and just build something and see where it goes. Don't worry about the design, just keep adding to it. And in this case, that's what I did. When I started adding trees and mountains, I'm like, you know what, what's something that's kind of neat to add? When I'm building a castle, usually I think of castles in mountains and things like that. So I went ahead and just added a little bit of scenery around it. I added some ground here. These are things that I just added as extra. There's no real need to do that. If I wanted to put this in a game, I would probably get rid of all this stuff and export just the castle itself, and then I would create the scene in Unity with all this extra scenery. And from here I've added a couple trees, and this isn't much, it really isn't, but you can imagine if you took this scene, you could probably add a lot of cool things that are missing. Like you typically you'd have a castle with a bridge and a moat, and in the real life, this tower actually has, because it's all like kind of on a tiny island, there's actually like a walkway that kind of comes around here, and then all this is ocean. And but in real life, you could add roads, and you could add villages, little houses. And in this case, like, the tower doesn't have flags on it, so I added my own little flag just for fun. But again, you can see taking something that was inspired from real life, modifying it a bit, and adding to it, and I've made something that I kind of think looks, fairly neat And you might say, well, that's boring. I could do better than that. Well, there you go. That's a good idea. Take that idea, build something better, make something, improve it. Now don't outright just copy something, exactly as is. And if you do want to borrow ideas, be sure that you share that where you got that inspiration from. It's very helpful for people to see that. But take ideas wherever you want and just kind of build on them. And maybe you don't use them in a game, but maybe you think of another idea as you're going along, like, oh, here's something that would be great to add to my game or to my model, and you can go from there. So hopefully I've helped you. Again, draw inspiration from real life and just build for the sake of building, see where it takes you. So thank you for watching, and I hope to see you next time.